We are Social Blade.
Just this week, a study by Pew came up with some interesting statistics here. The internet overtook news consumption in the U.S. among Americans over print media this week. So, what are the how does it all stack up? Basically, 78% of Americans get their news from a local TV station, such as your local, I don't know, CBS affiliate, something like that. 73% get it from cable TV stations such as CNN or Fox News. 61% get it from the internet. And below that, if you want to know even further, 54% get it from a radio station, listening either at home or in the car, 50% from a local newspaper, and only 17% from a national newspaper such as the New York Times or USA Today, which, quite honestly, the internet being the number 3 news source, that doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised it took so long, if anything. It actually kind of surprises me that so little people are reading the New York Times and things like that. When you look, though, at online news consumption, some other interesting statistics are 57% of people that read news online use just 2 to 5 websites to find their news. Only 11% of people get their news from more than 5 websites, and only 21% only get their news from one particular site. Lastly, 75% of online news consumers say they get their news forwarded through either email or posts on social networking sites like Dig, Facebook, Twitter. And 52% say that after seeing it, they also share the links with others via the same means. So,
That's
what do you guys
awesome.
think? Are you surprised that it's the third most viewed way in America to get their news or get your news?
Third most. Victor?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, if you just look at just naturally how technology's progressed and kind of all the devices that people are carrying with them, whether they be laptops, netbooks, mobile devices that are internet capable over 3G networks, it just makes sense that in terms of the way that we consume info, it's scaling away from things like TV, radio, these kind of automated channels that people just naturally surf in the background, to actively engaging in terms of reading on sites, whether it's getting emailed feeds, RSS feeds, Twitter feeds, dig front pages. There's just so many options, so many ways to take in info now, that it would make sense that given the spreading of the technology, that the internet is now a premier source of news in terms of the way we consume it, But at the same time, it also makes sense that things like TV, radio, are still fairly prominent. I don't think those are dying off anytime soon.
Where do you get your news from? Where's your primary source to get your news?
My primary source is the internet, and it's for a few reasons. One, I don't really do the whole TV thing. I mean, I watch TV shows, but if I do watch any of those shows, it's usually on Hulu. And so, I don't really leave the TV on or watch CNN headline news or anything. I, browse my RSS feed, I browse my Twitter feeds, and I look at what's happening on sites like Dig, Reddit, and StumbleUpon, in terms of getting most of my news, personally at least.
Yeah, I'm totally with Victor. I'm complete internet. I find that radio and television is a little slow and behind, and I like things that are faster, and I use original source. So I get to cover a variety of news sources to see what's going on in the top headlines. I know, I think one of you guys use Google News or something like that, Google Alerts for news.
Google Reader? Yeah, Google Alerts is great. Well, no, not just Google Reader, but when you search google.com/news, you can go ahead and set alerts for certain keywords and buzz terms in terms of getting kind of the latest scoop on, let's say, Microsoft or Sony, or any other interest or tag that you would like to use.
Yeah.
But something that Lady Umbrella said in the chat, strikes me as true, and it's that from a social media perspective, we're more inclined to check out news that our friends have recommended, that our friends have retweeted, that our friends have dug. There's a sort of inherent validation that comes with the way that news travels around social news networks, or social networks in general. And so, our communities act as filters naturally, and so we're more inclined to use those avenues because we know that the sources are good, the content's good, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that's why the majority of our social networks are incorporating trending topics. So, yeah, I can see that number rising as well, that the internet might even just take over.
I think,
So.
and the only thing that I'm going to say that's going to differ from what you people are saying is, and I do, the only thing I read the newspaper for is the local paper. That's because my sons are in high school sports and I follow that. The only reason I do watch TV news at lunchtime because it's the only thing that the people at work can agree on is the news. And then something that Ergo was reading where the people over 50 are the ones left reading the print version. I can believe that because if you take a look at it now, most people that are 20, 30, 40 years old now are getting into the iPads and the iPhones and they're getting their news from their phone and the internet and so on and so forth. When these people were that age, they didn't really have that afforded to them. So now you're looking at me, I'm in my 40s. When I was in my 30s, I got into the internet. By the time I'm 50 and 60, I'm not going to go start reading newspaper. I'll be blind if I'm still alive. I mean, at that point, I'm definitely going to be using, everything that I'm using now, except probably no newspaper. So, I mean, that's the only thing the only thing I can see changing in the future is that number of 50. The age that people use print version will go up and up if there's even a print version around.
I just want to correct you on one thing. Well, not only that it's not out yet, but no one's going to be using the iPad. You heard it here first.
Okay, fair enough. I threw that out there because I couldn't think of Kindle or anything else.
Invading the internet, covering Web 2.0, coast to coast, worldwide, and everywhere in between. This is where you put the social in social media. We are Social Blade.